fight, apparently Boots and Shawn Porter sparred. I remember Shawn was talking about it a while ago, and apparently they put it on the internet where them sparring or whatever. And this is to hype up. Really, I'm gonna tell you what this is for. This is to hype up Boots' next fight, and this is to kind of do a PR push for why Boots should fight Terrence Crawford. Now, what's so funny about it, when him and Virgil Ortiz had the opportunity to actually fight Crawford, they both turned it down. We knew what it was, right? And at the end of the day, this is all this is just, you got to understand, this is promotion. Even even if they come to the table and they do this fight, 9 times out of 10 they may walk away from this fight. Boots, I just want to see them. I mean, let's just get to it, bro, right? So Shawn Porter is not an active fighter, he's a retired fighter. This was like maybe a year ago, Shawn. So let me take the sound off. About a year ago. And Boots is the king of sparring. I mean, he ain't the king of Philly, but he the king of sparring. You know what I'm saying? And if you put big gloves on him and headgear on, I think he may be pound for pound the greatest fighter of all time. But we don't see none of this shit as far as the stories you hear in sparring, what you see in sparring. And obviously this is edited as well too. I hate when people drop edited footage. This is how you know this is promotion for the next fight. This is promotion to put him in position to to be in the conversation to fight Terrence Crawford and all that. But this is for the casual fan, because they know the real fans know the truth about this guy. You know what I'm saying? We know, I told y'all what happened in camp with him and Canelo. Canelo put hands, foots, and toes and elbows on him. And you've seen what Bud did to Canelo. This ain't no comparison. I feel like, him and Virgil Ortiz, went their way, and they went out there and they fought Fondor, and they at least, beat Fondor. I think then they would have an opportunity to say, okay, I put myself in the position to get that fight, right? Do we all agree with that? I would say, hey, I think they put themselves in position. I think they put themselves in position to be able to get that fight with Bud Crawford. You know what I'm saying? At least they clip Fondor, say I'm gonna go up to 60 and see what one of the title holders talking about. Then for the most part, we'll be able to have that conversation. But they basically ain't moving how they supposed to be moving. They both have been showing fishy tendencies for quite some time. When you look at Virgil Ortiz, you know what I'm saying, didn't get a title at 40, didn't get a title at 47. And obviously for his sake, Errol Spence and Terrence held some things up. But hey, Terrence and them said, hey, you wanted to fight the Golden Boy, and Golden Boy said no. Same thing for Jaron Ennis. He hopped out the WBO, hopped into the IBF. You think when they called him about getting the title, they was like, hey man, he was like, oh man, I don't want a title like that. I want to fight Bud for the title. See if Bud, no, he didn't do that. He didn't press for that. His father was on record saying, hey man, we just want the title. His father was on record saying, hey, we just want the title. That's it. His father was on record saying, hey, man, we just want the title. Fuck the bullshit. We just want the title. So I don't, some things I do forget, and some people got to remind me, but I don't forget stuff like that. But this ain't nothing but PR. They trying to press Bud. Oh, press it. And even if they don't really want the Bud fight, they trying to attach his name to Bud name. And at some point, when you're a prospect, that's cool. I don't have an issue with it. But when you're a fighter like Jaron Boots Ennis, man, and you make your own name, and you know what I'm saying, at some point, you should be like, all right, man, if I got to get in there with Mazaliev, I got to get in there with Virgil Ortiz, I got to get in there with Fondor. Let's start to really stamp some credibility. But you know why a lot of people don't want to stamp credibility, like Michael Nunn, Marvin Hagler, Sugar Ray Leonard, Thomas Hearns, why they don't want to, stamp they credit? Because they don't believe in themselves. They don't really believe in Boots. If they did, Boots wouldn't be moving like he be moving. Boots be moving like a true killer. He be taking them how they come. No caveats, no catch weights, no you got to come to Philly. None of that. And a lot of guys don't move that way no more. Like Devin Haney was one of the last guys that was willing to take all challengers. He took a low ball. He took a low ball to go to get titles versus Jeff Horn. Not Jeff Horn, but George Camboso. At the end of the day, Tank was for that same opportunity. I'm pretty sure Shakur Stevenson could have put himself in that opportunity. And when Devin gave Shakur Stevenson the same energy, like, okay, take the low ball off. You really believe in yourself. Shakur was like, no, I'm telling y'all, a lot of these dudes, they don't want it bad enough. Because if you really believe in your ability, you like, all right, right now I'm going to get shorter on the front end, but I'm going to get a hell of a bag on the back end. I'm going to get a hell of a bag on the back end, but they not moving like that. They don't believe in themselves like that. And Jaron Ennis, he's one of those guys who don't believe in himself like that. I keep telling you that. Keep telling y'all that. I know y'all, it's hard for y'all to believe that. It's hard. But just look how the homie moving. Look how the homie moving. So that's all I'll be really saying though. But that's all I'll really be saying. But I mean, it is what it is. But this is for promotion issue. Now I don't know if they ran it by Shawn Porter was like, hey, do you mind us putting this out here? And Shawn Porter, obviously, see a little bit of the interview in there. I didn't play it, but you see Shawn Porter, and Shawn Porter's in there like, Shawn Porter's in there like, yeah, he's in there like, yeah, he's in there like, like, yeah, he jumped the head up and said he's a hell of a fighter. He's better than I thought he was. He said that. So, but that's what he said. So only time will tell. But this is for promotional reason. This is for promotion only. They just trying to get his name. And instead of going out there and saying, all right, man, we didn't build you up enough. Now it's time to start to go out there and actually put the work in. The PR legwork is done. Now it's actually started to put the actual work in to prove that you really that dude. But they'd rather continue to fake it till they make it. These some now you see me, now you don't. You notice how many fraudulent fighters that Eddie Hearn promotes? It's always some Dillian White fighting a motherfucker while he on roids. Anthony Joshua fraud. And a lot of y'all niggas fell for the Anthony Joshua fraud thing. You can say, yes, CJ, you picked Canelo. And yeah, I did. And I was rooting for Terrence, but a lot of people that knew boxing picked Canelo. He thought the size would be too much. Nobody could have predicted that Crawford would move up the way he did. But shout out to him. Everything I said, I provided facts. As far as him saying, oh, I wasn't going up that high, then what changed his mind? But, then again, but in this situation, with Boots, why not do the work? Why not start to, you almost 30, why not start to prove that you real? But they in it for the money. His Bonzi had other sons that was, for the most part, that was, making their way up the ladder and, doing their thing, going up the ladder and stuff, man. And, they didn't probably make the money that Boots is making right now. So it's more probably of securing the generational wealth thing. And that's the thing about it. That's the crazy thing about it, man. A lot of these niggas is they fighting for they financially, they fighting for their family. That's what they're doing. They fighting for make a living for their family. I can't knock it. But stop acting like you something that you really not. That's my problem. A lot of these dudes acting like something that they're really not. You ain't no killer, bro. Like, stop it. Then you really ain't trying to fight the best. You just in there trying to get what they gotta say this to the media. That's why I tell y'all, watch how they move. Watch how they move. And if people can get an inside look to these negotiations on how these guys really be moving in negotiations, I think a lot of dudes would be like, oh, damn. This dude a weak ass nigga. He's a bum. He's a fraud. But I don't, even without the inside information, I don't, for the most part, I ain't gotta look. I ain't gotta look at it. I could just see how they move it. It makes sense. I've been around boxing that long. But hey, thumbs up the video, share the video, subscribe to the channel, hit the link tree. Find me on X, Instagram, Spotify, Anchor, Cash App, Venmo, PayPal, Amazon, Kick, Twitch, the whole nine. Appreciate the love and support. Check out the Box News playlist. Peace.